Voices and the static. I've always been a night owl. Something about the quiet hours between midnight and dawn just fits me. So when I landed a gig as the overnight DJ at a local radio station, I figured it was a perfect match. Low stress, decent pay, and nobody around to bother me. It was just me, a microphone, a playlist, and the occasional insomniac caller. The station was an old one. Been around since the 60s, still running on analog equipment and held together with duct tape and prayers. The building was tucked between a laundromat and an abandoned diner on the edge of town. We joked that it was haunted, but nobody really believed that crap. At least, I didn't. Not at first. I started noticing weird stuff about a month in. Nothing huge, just little things. Like the clock on the wall running 10 minutes fast no matter how many times I fixed it. Or hearing faint whispers when the music was off, even though my headphones weren't on. Chalked it up to my imagination, or the old wiring, or just being tired. Then the calls started. It was a Thursday night, just after 2 a.m. I was halfway through a classic rock set, sipping cold coffee and scrolling through my phone. The studio line lit up. That was weird in itself. Calls usually came in closer to midnight, not in the dead of night. I picked up, ran my usual line. "This is Jack on WZRD 103.3. Who's this?" There was static. Faint at first, like a bad connection. Then a small voice, barely a whisper. "Help me." I sat up straight. "Hello? Kid, are you all right?" The line went dead. I stared at the phone for a few seconds, confused. We'd had prank calls before, some drunk college kids pretending to be aliens or ghosts or whatever, but this felt different. The voice was scared. Real. I waited a few minutes, then went back to the music. Next night, same thing. Around 2:04 a.m., the line lit up. Same soft voice, same static. "Please. Help me. He's coming." Then silence. I checked the caller ID. Blocked. Tried 69, nothing. The number didn't trace. My gut told me this wasn't some punk messing around. I started recording every call after that. Night 3, I asked the kid questions. "What's your name? Where are you?" A pause. "Can't say." "He's listening." The voice was definitely a child. Young. Maybe 6 or 7. Terrified. Each call lasted less than 30 seconds before the line cut out. I told my boss about it. He shrugged it off. Said the lines were probably glitching. Told me to stop recording calls without permission. Could be a lawsuit waiting to happen, he warned. I didn't care. Something was wrong. I could feel it. Then I noticed the patterns. Every call came in at the same time, 2:04 a.m. Every night. Same voice. Same static. And after every call, the studio got cold. Not chilly, cold. Like something opened the door to a freezer and sucked all the heat out of the room. Gave me goosebumps, even with the heater on. I started sleeping during the day, researching at night. I dug through station records, talked to old employees, even visited the local library. That's when I found it. There'd been a fire at the station back in 1972. Started in the basement. They said faulty wiring, but rumors said otherwise. A janitor named Marvin had locked himself in the basement after hours, mumbling about hearing voices. He had a breakdown and set the place on fire. Died in the flames. Nobody talked about it. No charges were filed, just swept under the rug. I found a photo of Marvin. Skinny guy, sunken eyes. Creepy looking. I figured maybe the voice on the line was connected. Some kind of ghost story. I didn't believe in that stuff, but nothing else made sense. On the 6th night, things got worse. The kid sounded more panicked than ever. "He's getting closer," the voice said. "Don't let him in." Then the call ended with a loud thump, like someone hitting the receiver. And then, a knock on the studio door. I froze. The knock wasn't loud, just 2 slow raps, but at that hour, 2:06 a.m. in a locked building with no one else around, it felt like a gunshot. Nobody should have been there. The front entrance had a security gate, and the only other key was with my boss, who lived 40 minutes away. I waited. Nothing. Just silence and the hum of the old equipment around me. I stood up slowly and peered through the small glass window in the studio door. The hallway was empty. Dark. I turned on the overhead light. Still empty. I checked the front door. Locked. No sign anyone had been there. No footprints on the dusty tile, no wind from an opening. Nothing. I tried to tell myself it was a coincidence. Maybe the building was just settling. Maybe I imagined it. But deep down, I knew better. That night, I left the studio lights on and played extra long tracks so I wouldn't have to talk. I kept checking over my shoulder, waiting for the phone to ring again. It didn't. Not that night. But the next night? Oh yeah. Right on time. 2:04 a.m. I picked it up, hands shaking. "This is Jack," I said, voice dry. The child's whisper came through the static. "You have to find me. Please." "Where are you?" I asked again. "I want to help you. Just tell me where," the voice cut me off. "He's in the walls. He hears everything." I swallowed hard. "Who is he?" No answer. Just breathing. Then the voice whispered, "Marvin." And the line went dead. I didn't sleep the next day. I drove to the library and begged the old archivist to let me into the basement records. After some bribery and a fake story about writing a book, she let me in. I found the original newspaper clippings. The fire. The death. Marvin had indeed worked at the station. But here's the kicker, he had a son. 6 years old. Named Dylan. The kid had gone missing a week before the fire. Police assumed Marvin kidnapped him. The case was never solved. My blood went cold. That voice on the phone? I was almost certain it was Dylan. But how? And why now? That night, I brought a flashlight, a thermos of coffee, and a crowbar. Yeah. A crowbar. If Marvin's kid was still in that building, or his ghost, or spirit, or whatever, I was going to find out. I showed up early, around 10 p.m., and started poking around. The basement had been locked for years. I pried it open. The hinges screamed like they hadn't moved in decades. Dust poured out in waves. The air smelled old, rotten, like mold and copper. I stepped inside. The basement wasn't big, just a storage room and some shelves. Old tapes, wires, and used equipment. But at the far end was a wall that didn't look quite right. Too smooth. Too new. I tapped it. Hollow. I pulled out the crowbar and went to work. After 10 minutes of prying and swearing, part of the wall gave way, and behind it was a hidden room. No lights. Just darkness. I aimed my flashlight in. It was a child's bedroom. No joke. A rusted metal bed frame. A cracked dresser. Faded wallpaper with cartoon bears. Dust covered everything, but it was all still there. Someone had made a room here. For a child. In the basement of a radio station. And on the floor, under the bed, a tape recorder. I picked it up. It was old but looked intact. I popped in the cassette and hit play. The voice that came out? Dylan. But this time, it wasn't a whisper. It was clear. Frightened. Daddy says I have to stay here. He says the people upstairs don't understand. I don't like the dark. Please let me out. Please. Then a loud slam, like a door shutting. The recording ended. I backed out of the room, heart pounding. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the recorder. That night's shift was the longest of my life. At 2:04 a.m., the call came in again. I picked it up, holding the recorder in my other hand. I found your room, Dylan, I said softly. I know what happened. I'm going to help you. For the first time, there was silence. No static. Just silence. Then the voice said, "He's angry." I heard the studio door slam open. I spun around, dropping the phone. No one was there. But the temperature dropped instantly, like someone had opened the Arctic. Then the lights went out. Not just the overheads. Everything. The mixing board, the on-air light, even my phone. I was standing in pitch black, barely breathing, gripping the flashlight so hard my knuckles popped. That's when I heard it. Whispering. All around me. From the walls. From the ceiling. You let him in. I bolted. Didn't even grab my bag. Just ran for the front door, keys shaking in my hands. I could hear footsteps behind me, heavy ones. Like boots on tile. I made it out. Barely. I didn't go back for 3 days. When I did, the place was quiet. Too quiet. The door was still locked. My bag was still in the studio. Everything looked untouched. Except for one thing. That tape recorder? It was on the console. And it had been playing. I hit stop and rewound it. This time, the voice was different. Lower. Guttural. You shouldn't have come back. That night was my last shift. I quit the next day, no notice, no explanation. Left town 2 weeks later. Moved 3 states away. I don't listen to the radio anymore, not even in the car. But some nights, just after 2 a.m., I swear I can hear the static.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out